Come and study with Tanzania Institute of Education.
Hello, my students. My name is Teacher Victor Tadei Clement. Our lesson today is a geography in Form 2 in our topic of tourism. But today, our lesson is considered in the impacts of tourism in the world. As in my previous lesson, we are discussing about the tourism and the concept of tourism, types of tourism, and also we'll look at the importance of tourism in the world. When we come in our definition, we say tourism is involving people moving a place where interest. So by that, when we say that is the people who are moving from one area to another, and that people always is in a different in economic, or we can say in a different in richness. Some tourists, they come from Europe, and some tourists we can say is domestic. So the tourists we coming from Europe is different in economical to the tourist who is in a domestic in our country, or we can say is a travel within our country. So within the moving, I think there is or can be contact with the native in the area where visiting, also can be visiting in the area where is a different environments, and also the tourist can visit in different area in the world. Also that country that is visit is can have their different economics. So within their movement, there is some impact, or we can say there is effect can be taking place on there, or the tourist can leave the impact to that area. That impact sometimes can be beneficial, and sometimes that impact can be negative, or can give a bad impact to that area. So today, my students, we can discuss about the positive and a negative impact. Later, we can look about the how to address this problem, and then we can look at the general problem which facing to the tourist in the world. So let us begin, my student, with the first session here. We talk the positive impacts of tourism. When we say positive, it means is beneficial. Can it bring the benefit to the government, or sometimes can it bring the benefit to the people who are involved in the work of tourism, or we can say the guiding of tourism. So what is the first impact? You can say the first impact, the tourism can create the foreign currency. This foreign currency, my students, when you say the involving of tourist activity, always the visitors can use money either to pay for the routes, to pay for the tour guides, or also going to buy the goods in a market, or sometimes can buy the goods to the area where they visiting. So through that, the government can get money through their direct tax, you can say, or taxes, or sometimes can be paying for the hotels, or sometimes can be paying to the transport. So the government can get money through that ways. But the people also can get a foreign money through paying, or through guiding that tourist, and then you can paying for that trip. Also that people can get money. So you can say sometimes can get foreign currency. But in government, the foreign currency can help to support other social service, such as to pay for buying a medicine, and also to buy other important things outside of the world. Can help them. Also, a second positive impact can bringing together the people on on various categories. First, we can say can bring it together in a different color of people, different people. We can say maybe there is tourist can be together with maybe European, can be together with African, or also we can say the people from one region in Tanzania can be together with other region in Tanzania. Take example, maybe you can say there is a people of Dar es Salaam can be friendly to the people of Kilimanjaro, or the people of Dar es Salaam can be friendly to the people of Iringa. That is because the people who are visiting on that area. Also, on term of this, we can talk about is in term of color. We can say the British, that is the white people, also can be friendly with a black people in Africa. So we can say this can keep a friendly in general. Also, we can say in term of religions. As we know, there is a different religions in the world, but if there is visiting on the area, all people can be the same on there, because cannot be distinguished or can be not discriminated due to their religious. So here we can say about religious can be also acted to the importance. Also, another impact create the diversification of economy. My dear students, in our country or all over the world, there is a different sector in the country. Take example in Tanzania, we have agricultural sectors, we have transport sectors, also we have trade centers. But this can contribute to the development of the country. So when we take also the tourism sector, so we can say tourism, agriculture, and also have transport sector. Those can contribute in economical to the country. So the government cannot depend one sector in development. So we can say that this can influence the diversification of economy. Also, another importance here, or we can say positive impact, influence the conservation of environment. Conservation of environment. How the tourists can help in conserving the environments? In a system of tourism in the country, there is some system which can produce, can consider to conserve the environment. Example, some countries they can introduce into eco-tourism. Eco-tourism, here we can say a tourist activity can taking place in the area, but the tourist can contribute to the conservation of environment. By that, so there is many tourist zones in Tanzania can be beneficial to these ways. So by this, we can say if we introduce ecotourism in the country, can help it to conserve the environment in terms of the cleaning on the area. We can say don't put a waste product such as bottle and others, and also can reduce to clear the forest on that area, and also cannot feeding the animals or other things in that area. So we can say tourism can be influences the conservation of environment due to the introduction of the eco-tourism. Another is number 5, development of infrastructure of the area. When we say infrastructure here, we consider that is a service which can help the tourism activity to develop in the area. Examples, when we take the infrastructure, maybe road, from Dar es Salaam to reach to Ngorongoro, from Dar es Salaam to Mikumi, there is a good road in the area which can be facilitated to reach in that area. And also in air transport, there is a good transport from our country to outside the country. Maybe they can exchange the tourists from one country to another country. And also there is some services can be available in the country, such as the internet and other model of infrastructure which can be developed. So through this, the government can make effort in order to develop that the infrastructure on the area. Lastly, we can say the positive impact here is job creation. Job creation. On job creation, in general, if there is a tourist coming in the area, the tourist, they need different things in order to stay safe, also to visit well in the area. One among is defense, other is healthy, and other also can need food, and also can need guiding on that area. So through this, in guiding, in food preparation, in sleeping preparation in the area, and helping, and also defense, this can consider more than 5 people for one tourist or for one group of tourists, so that different peoples can get a job or can create a job in an area where tourists can be visited. So my student, this is as a positive impact of tourism. If we accelerate well tourism in our country, we can say they can get this things or that factors which can be helpful to the development of economics. Let us go to another portion. We can say the negative impact. Impacts. As in previous previous lesson, we say the tourist involve a people. So the people common can have their different behavior and they also can have a different characteristics. So due to the involvement of people, we can say some people, they have a bad behavior and some people cannot obey the behavior of the country that can be visited on that area. So we can say, let us look at first one. We can say can change animals' behavior. Animal behavior, or we can say a wildlife behavior. How the tourist can change wildlife behavior? One among the tourist attraction is a national park. And the national park, there is a variety of wildlife on there. So the wildlife always can need close or can come close to you on there. So if we can say we can feed that wildlife, or sometimes we can play together with that wildlife. So the wildlife sometimes can be lazy or can be non-hunter for food, because it depends on you. So if it depends on you for food, if there is no tourist activity on that area, so you can say that the animal can enter to the farmer of the people who are surrounding on there and can destroy the crops, because there is no power, no behavior again to find food. So this we can say is not allowed to feed the animals or wildy animals in a touristy zone. Are we together, my students? Let us proceed to this. Also, another negative impact is a moral decay. Moral decay. This also is another situation which can be a negative impact due to the tourism activities. my dear student, as I say in a previous, tourism is involve people, which can have a different characteristics. So due to the interaction between tourists and the native people, or the people who are surrounding in a tourist zone, so some tourists or some native people can bring the bad behavior to the tourist, or tourists can bring the bad behavior to the native people. So example here, we can say can influence the drug abuse, or some can develop a homosexual. So this we can say is bad effect to the young people in the area where involved in a tourist zone. So this we can say also moral can be decaying due to the interaction between that tourist in the area. Another is non-obeyed of the native or culture of host country. Also, this is another bad effect or impact which occur in some country in the world. Some tourists cannot be obey the culture of the native on there. So here we can say example in wearing styles, in eating style, in language they use also can affect a tourist, can affect the area. Example in a language, sometimes the language can discriminate the native people who are living on that area. And also we can say some wearing style is not obeyed to that people who are living in that area. So we can say this can bringing maybe the result can occur a conflict between the native or between the tourist and the people surrounding in that area. Also, another is environmental degradation. Is environmental degradation. Tourism can visit in the area or in site where there is attractive features, such as in a Kilimanjaro mountain, or we can say in a visit in a national park. So in the national park there is a tree, or there is some culture in that area. Take example in a Maasai, or we can say, take example in Tarangire. So the Maasai, they take a wood and they make a different things, so that things can be sold to the tourists. So these things mostly can involve by using of forest on that surrounding area. So if the government cannot be care on to that condition, so you can look about the people can destroy the forest around the national park. Also, some people can deposit waste, especially when the area practice in domestic tourism, because the domestic tourism, sometimes the people cannot have a good knowledge for the conserving of the environment to the tourist zone. So this also can be destroyed to the environmental degradation. And number 5, we can say it causes the school drops of children. School drops of children. Some tourist activity can taking place in rural. So due to the tourist visit on that area, also there is some small activities taking place by children. So the children normally can be engaged in tourism rather than going to school. So you can look, a lot of people who are still in the area cannot be learning. So you can say that people who are dropping from school due to the tourist activity. In order they participate in this activity due to get money for using. So this you can say a negative impact. So we can say tourism will have a positive and will have a negative impact. So what is the government can be do here in order to control this? Should be addressing some condition which can help them to reduce the impact. To reduce the impact of tourism or negative impact of tourism on this. So one we can say is encourageable ecotourism. Ecotourism here, when the tourists visit on the tourist zone and also can destroy, so can be punished to pay. So the tourist can be care on there in order to conserve them. So this is one among the way to address the of impact or negative impact of tourism. A second one, we can look to introduce new tourism attraction. When the government introduce a new tourism attraction, this can help to reduce the congestion in one attractive area. So this can make people to be separated and then to reduce the land degradation and also to deposit waste in the area. And also the government, number 3, should be force the tourist to obey the culture of the area they visit. The government and the authorized sectors should be give a condition, or we can say regulation, in order if a tourist can enter in the area, should be obey the culture of that place, because this can reduce the conflict between a tourist and the native people who are living in that area. So this, if we can take in the area, somehow can reduce a negative impact of tourism. My dear student, let us give the homework here. It gives the homework. This homework can help you to solve with your parent or with the guiding of your parent and a friend at home, and then we can get some new idea about the impact of tourism through negative and positive, and the way how to address. So my question, our exercise today or our homework, we can say number 1, explain the positive and the negative impact of tourism by using 6 points. And question number 2 here, explain the measure used to address the negative impacts of tourism by using 5 points. My dear students, this is the end of our lesson. My name is Teacher Victor Tadei Clement. Thank you for listening.
Elimu ni kazi, learn, let's study, be educated. Elimu ni kazi. Elimu ni kazi, learn, let's study, be educated. Elimu ni kazi.
Sisi ni Tanzania mpya.